Good afternoon, and welcome to Season 2 of Going Uptown. And this is your host, Tyree Uptown Browne. I am so excited for today's show as I have two different guests. In the first segment, I will be joined with my cousin, Mr. Bill Wright, a man who has been all around the world and seen it all and doing it all. And in my second segment, I will have my good friend, Mr. Eddie Hassell, and we will be talking about the Oscar Micheaux Family Theater Program Company and his acting career, as well as his upcoming radio shows. And this is Going Uptown with Uptown Browne. But joining me right now is my cousin, Mr. Bill Wright. Welcome to Going Uptown.
Thank you, Cousin Tyree. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, Cousin Bill, can you please tell my audience a little something about yourself?
Okay, I guess I should start with saying that I was raised in Roxbury and attended the William Bacon School and later the Sherwin School. Then in 7th grade, I moved on to Boston Latin School. Graduating Boston Latin, I went to Columbia University, and my freshman year there had a chance to march with other students in the demonstration against the Vietnam War. And
How was that experience?
Well, that was really something. To be in Washington with about 500,000 other college students seeking to have Richard Nixon take American troops out of Vietnam was my first real exposure to sort of mass demonstrations. And the students at that time knew that we were right about our position, and we knew that we had to voice that position. After my freshman year at Columbia, a roommate and I, a fellow who was Jewish, decided to travel to Jerusalem to spend our sophomore year in Israel at the Hebrew University. But in traveling there, I took a flight from JFK Airport on El Al Airlines, the Israeli airline, directly to Tel Aviv. And when I landed in Tel Aviv, I knew how to say three things in Hebrew. I knew how to say yes, which is ken. I knew how to say no, which is lo. And I knew how to say cease fire, which is Hafsaka Esh. And a friend of mine taught me those three things and said that Hafsaka Esh was the most important one to know while in the Middle East, while in Jerusalem, while in Israel.
Now, did you ever have to say that word?
There was at least one occasion. We were studying down in the desert, learning Hebrew, those of us who didn't know Hebrew well. And we lived at a kibbutz. And in the kibbutz next door, the retired Prime Minister of Israel, David Ben-Gurion, was living in retirement. Now, David Ben-Gurion is basically the George Washington of Israel. He was the prime minister during the war, what they call the War of Independence in 1948, in which Israel actually defeated a number of Arab nations that surround that country. And one evening, he came over and spoke to our group of international students. And when you think about what they had been through, and of course, being a tiny nation, it was really fascinating to see this person, hear him talk about what the difficulties were that they encountered, and how so many of the people who had come to Israel came there after World War II and after the Holocaust as a safe haven for their people.
Wow. And then how long was you in Israel for?
For a year.
And then?
And I also happened to be there in September of 1971 when the Israeli Air Force and the Jordanian Air Force attacked Yasser Arafat's troops in Jordan. And that was what drove Arafat from Jordan into Lebanon. I happened to be waiting for a bus, for an Arab bus on the road between Jericho and Jerusalem, and saw UN jeeps starting to come out of the Jericho side, heading toward Jerusalem very quickly. Looking to the east toward Amman, you could see those jets converging, and at first I thought they were going to be attacking each other, but instead they were firing into the ground to attack Arafat's troops. That incident later became known as Black September. So I was an eyewitness to Black September.
Wow, that's amazing. And after Israel, what did you do next?
Well, when I returned, I finished my undergraduate degree at Columbia and immediately went to the Columbia University Graduate School of Journalism. And when I completed that degree in 1979, I went to work for State Senator Carl McCall, who represented Harlem, the west side of Manhattan, and Washington Heights. And Carl is from Roxbury. He grew up on Harold Street, went to Roxbury Memorial High School, then on to Dartmouth College, did his master's degree in Scotland at St. Andrews, and came back to Boston to go to Andover Newton Theological School. He's a Methodist minister.
Okay.
Carl, who is an extremely talented politician, went from being a state senator to becoming deputy ambassador to the United Nations when President Carter removed Andrew Young from the UN as the top ambassador. Don McHenry went to the top spot, another brother, and Carl was named to be the deputy ambassador, one of the three, and Congressman Charlie Rangel was very important in that happening. And McCall later became state comptroller for New York, so every New York State check had his signature on it. He also was in charge of the New York State pension, the largest one in the country. He later became candidate for governor of New York State in 2002, shortly after the 9/11 disaster. He lost to the incumbent, George Pataki.
Okay.
So after that, I returned back to Boston, and in 1981, I worked with Charles Yancey, who was running for city council with the new district and at-large city council seats. Charles had about 8 opponents in the preliminary, and he made the final as the top candidate. Senator Bill Owens' son, Bill Owens Jr., was his opponent in the finals, and Charles won that election and then went on to win 15 more elections.
Yeah.
I then worked with Gloria Fox when she ran for state rep to replace Doris Bunty. And Doris Bunty, of course, had been a rep for about 14 years. And Gloria won that special election, and she again went on for another 15 wins, retiring recently. After that, I was asked to be the head of the BHA's communications department by Doris Bunty, who had been appointed by Ray Flynn, the new mayor. And during Doris's tenure, we integrated public housing in South Boston, Charlestown, the North End, and East Boston. And we also rehabbed a lot of the closed public housing units around the city at a cost of about $300 million, with thousands of units, which allowed many more people to remain in the city of Boston. And by integrating the neighborhoods I mentioned, at that point, people of color, black people, Latinos, Asians, could live in public housing in any part of the city, which of course had not been the case for years.
And that was, because right now, that was a big step, because right now we are going through similar situations. Like, we need the housing, we're losing housing here.
True. I mean, as it stands now, many people who don't have a subsidy or a Section 8 would not be able to live in the city of Boston.
True.
And would lose the benefits of being close to hospitals, jobs, schooling. And one of the key issues the city is dealing with right now is that as condominiums are being built in almost every spot where there's enough room to build a condominium, the pressure is increasing on the neighborhoods. And when I've campaigned with Charles Clemens Muhammad for city council and state rep, we talk to neighborhood residents, and whether it's Roxbury or Rosendale, whatever neighborhood it is, they all say the same thing. They're afraid that their own children and grandchildren will not be able to live in the neighborhoods they grew up in, that they've lived in for generations, that their families basically built, and our taxpayer dollars have built, this wonderful city of Boston that everyone wants to live in.
Yes.
And so we need to have a balance. We have a mayor right now who's hand in hand with the developers and the construction workers, and he's not paying attention to the impact on neighborhoods as Mayor Tom Menino did and as Mayor Ray Flynn did. Those were both neighborhood mayors. We actually need a mayor who will look out for the interests of long-term residents and balance that new development. Deutsche Bank did a piece last year stating that people overseas in other countries look at Boston as the most desirable city in the United States to live in.
Oh, yeah.
But after the BHA, I want to say that I went to work with the University of Massachusetts President's Office. I was hired by Michael Hooker, who there's a statue of his ancestor standing outside of the State House on Beacon Hill, General Joseph Hooker. And Michael Hooker was president for a few years and later took the job at UNC Chapel Hill as their new president. He was replaced by Sherry Penny, the former UMass Boston chancellor, during the search for a new president. And after a nationwide search, they found Senator William Bulger right up the street to become the new UMass president.
Now, right now you are part of the New Democracy Coalition, correct?
Yes.
And how did you join that organization?
A friend, Kevin Peterson, I know had been working on this issue for some time. When we were growing up, we heard about and learned about the triangle trade, but not much was said about the role of people in Boston as slave owners and slave traders involved in getting wealthy from that triangle trade. Kevin saw that Faneuil Hall should not continue to carry the name of Peter Faneuil, who was one of those slave traders. Right. And of course, the Faneuil Hall itself was built with the proceeds of the sale of slaves. Mm. So we've done demonstrations at the building. We also, on February 27th, I said to Kevin, well, the city council was denying having a public hearing. Mayor Walsh said, if we change the name 30 years from now, people won't know why we changed the name.
Right.
And of course, that was nonsense. Yeah. We have plaques and monuments all over the place in Boston about what things happened and who did it and where and why. Mm-hmm. So all you need to do is create a plaque, put it on the wall, but take the man's name off the building. Right. Unless, of course, Mayor Walsh believes that 30 years from now, people will no longer know how to read.
And then we are going to see some of that footage when you guys went down to City Hall.
Yes.
So we're about to check it out right now.
Okay.
For these young people, what a terrible.
This is ordering them, showing you guys how democracy works. This is a part of the process. This is how it
Guys, you want to follow
works.
us for a second, please?
Yep.
Please?
For what reason, sir?
Because we have council rules
They
for
have
a
rules
reason.
over here that they have.
So you call the police on us?
I never call police.
Okay.
We have
So
council
they have
rules.
badges and guns.
We have council rules that say signs are not allowed. We do that for everybody.
Okay, so are we
So
subject to arrest?
as we are,
Officer, are we subject to arrest?
as
So
we,
you just call the police on us?
They're not the policemen.
No, you just call the police on
they were
us.
not called. They were
So,
not
so
called.
why are they here then?
Because we have council.
Oh, they just showed up?
That's the truth. I called security.
You call the police?
Honestly,
Because of public protest. We are well within our constitutional rights to do this.
No, you're not. This is a city council meeting and
This is
signs are
city,
not
yes, we
allowed.
are part of this city process.
And there's reasonable
And we are
restrictions
members
on
of
You
that.
can have your time, but it's not now.
Sir, we have not been allowed the time.
They have to go
We have
back
not
to
been allowed the
school.
time.
Give us
We've
a
sent
date
4
for a
letters
hearing.
to each of you
It's simple.
over the last year. You have not allowed us
I
any
haven't
time.
gotten a letter, but that's neither here nor there. This is not the way to do it.
Give us a date for a hearing and we'll leave.
I will.
Give us a date and we will leave.
No.
Okay, fine.
I would want
So we
those
will
kids to
let,
speak first.
we will let your constituents know
Please,
how
it's
you
District
feel.
1, East Boston, Charlestown, and the North End. None of them have called me about this, by the way.
Oh,
Not one of my
okay,
constituents.
because this does not affect them.
Maybe counselors.
Yeah, because they're part of the 1%, yes?
No, that's not true at all.
Did you not read the Boston Globe article?
Counselors, staff.
Yeah, so you know that they're part of the 1%.
No, I know my district
Not
very
part of
well.
$5
You
and
do not.
$8
You do
percentage
not know my
that,
district
yes,
very well.
that
We
we
have
are
gorgeous
part
housing
of.
development.
Counselor, you represent the entire city.
I represent the entire city,
No, she
but I
just said
represent
she
District 1.
represents the North End.
Yeah,
That's
I
And
what
you
she
know
said.
what?
But you
You're
represent
the
the whole
only
city.
ones who've actually ever approached us about this.
That
And
doesn't
letters,
matter.
not one of you
So
have ever
what does
called.
that have to do with morality?
It has everything.
What does it have to? That has nothing to do with morality. If I'm the only person, if
What
it's
does this
an
have
issue
to do with
of
morality?
if this is
Kevin, this is about you.
Listen, no, it's not. No, this is about slavery. And this, no, it's not about me. It's not about me, lady.
It is completely
Lady, it's not about
you.
me.
You should be ashamed
No,
of
no.
yourself.
If it's about me, I'll be the only person standing
Go,
here.
why don't
Our
you
children
stand
have a right
naked
to be
again
heard too,
in front
but they
of the
can't
State House,
tell you.
pretend to be a
Wow,
slave.
go
Why don't you
stand
do that
naked again.
That was about
So
you.
thank you. Thank you.
That was about you.
It's not about him, it's not personal.
All right, guys.
That's not the mayor in here.
It's not being personal.
But it's
You
not
shut
about
down
him.
kids for
Did
this.
you
You
just
shut down
say,
children for
did
this.
you just tell
Says
me you
about
were
me.
stand
So
naked again?
embarrassing right now. You are embarrassing.
No, you are embarrassing.
I'm not going to shut it anymore. But I'm going to say this.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Lydia with the Y. Make sure you get it right when you speak about it on social media.
Yes.
You have no idea what
I
you're
don't
talking
need,
about.
Channel 7 is catching up. Yes.
And I'm sitting here
I don't have to tweet anything.
who have issues with displacement, issue with trying to stay in this city, issues with living in the
And
hard
Faneuil Hall is a part of that process.
issue. You do not
Not
even
one
talk
black,
20 issues.
not one black proprietor has a business in Faneuil Hall. Did you think about that?
I'll say that you should be
Not one
ashamed of
black
yourself.
person
I'll
has
say
a
this.
business in Faneuil Hall.
I'll say this.
That should be a
That's not
problem
gonna
of
change with me.
our
I'll say this. Are you ready to listen for a moment?
Yes.
We have council rules for a reason.
Kevin and I know what those rules are.
And
They're
don't
right
you
here.
all
They're
break
right
the
here.
rules all the
Are
time.
you ready to listen
You
for
all
a
break
minute?
the rules all. Let's not talk about rules, counselor.
Okay.
Let's talk
All I
about.
know is this.
Give us
We
a
had a
hearing.
presentation
Give
for
us a
these young
hearing,
people
and
that
we'll
we had
go.
to cancel just now.
Give us a date when we can come
Because
back and speak
literally
to you
we
in
could
chamber.
not execute on
Give us
that.
a date.
And that's sad.
Give us a date, Andrea.
Thank you.
Give us a date, and we'll come back and see you.
Please clear the chamber.
All right, guys.
Clear the chamber.
You guys can't stand there. Just I think you guys.
Who's in charge of this,
You guys can
Is
get
it you?
locked up for
People are in charge. People
People
who's-
in the city of Boston in charge.
All right, do me a favor, guys. It's time to clear the chambers. It's time to go, okay?
Sir, let me just make
We could talk about it outside the chambers, okay? They have to clear the chambers, okay?
These chambers belong to the people.
Okay, I understand, sir, sir.
They want them to clear the chambers. Ain't that a shame? City Hall is open for the community, public hearings, and they wanted to close the chambers because the New Democracy Coalition wanted to speak up and stand up. And then they ended up turning the lights off on you guys while you were still there. Is that correct?
Well, before that, the council president, Andrea Campbell, apparently in frustration, asked that everyone leave the chamber, including the city councilors. So they rose from their seats and went back to their offices. The entire chamber was closed. Those municipal police officers kept asking us to leave, and we kept saying no. So eventually, one of them, with sergeant stripes on his arm, went over to the light switch and turned the lights out. I think they must have thought that we were afraid of the dark or something. Later, a few days later, I talked with Charles Yancey, who had been counselor for 32 years, and I asked him, I said, Charles, did you guys ever get rousted from the city council when the cops came there, or when the firefighters came there, trying to intimidate you about an issue? And he said, of course not. And I couldn't imagine Dapper O'Neill or Chris Sinella or Bruce Bowling or Tony Creighton or any of those folks being run out of the chamber. So we then went from that position to the mayor's office and requested a meeting with him. And the thing that's interesting is, in a lot of people's minds, people act as if we, the public, work for elected officials. Right. Of course, that's twisted, as Ice-T might say, right? The elected officials work for us. Not only that, but we can put them in office or we can take them out of office.
Exactly.
So we were demonstrating to them through civil disobedience how democracy actually works. And unfortunately, they didn't know how to handle it. And this was, of course, streaming on Facebook and also ended up being on YouTube. And I think they looked ridiculous.
Exactly.
To be in a position where, in essence, especially the black city councilors, that you're in a position where you're standing on the side of continuing to honor a slave owner and a slave trader, that's not the place to be.
No, it's definitely not. So did you come up with some type of solution? Are they going to definitely hear your concerns?
Well, we did another demonstration 2 weeks later, and in
Okay.
that demonstration we had white ministers do the demonstration. They got a much more respectful treatment, surprise, surprise,
Surprise.
than we had received. And after that meeting, City Councilor at Large Micheaux Wu said that she would put in an order for a public hearing. Now, again, the strange thing is we were only asking for a hearing to discuss changing. And we had, not polled the councilors on whether they wanted to be in favor of changing or not. And the Boston Globe and the Boston Herald, to their disgrace, never polled the councilors. The columnist Adrian Walker, who writes for the Globe, and the columnist Joyce Faribault Bowling, who writes for the Herald, both issued, columns in which they said they were against changing the name. One of the state reps, Russell Holmes from Mattapan, I believe in this recent Boston magazine, was quoted as saying that he didn't think the name should be changed because it all happened so long ago, which is one of the most ridiculous statements I ever heard. And I think about Dick Gregory's statement that the establishment has caused people to think that legal means right. Legal doesn't mean right. Slavery was legal.
Right. And then it is a shame, like, having a name change. We're supposed to be the Liberty City, abolitionist city. People call us the city that shows love, but people down south could change the names of statues, of Confederate statues, monuments, and stuff like that. Why can't we just change the name? It's that simple. Change the name.
Right. Well, of course, in the South, that's happening. In South Carolina, they took the Confederate flag off of the South Carolina flag. And recently, the name Yawkey Way was changed back to its original Jersey Street. And in that case, it was only because Tom Yawkey, the owner of the Red Sox, was known to be a racist who had players like Hank Aaron and Willie Mays try out, but I guess they weren't good enough for the Red Sox. And the Red Sox were the last team to actually use and hire black baseball players. Now, if a name can be changed because a man was a racist, then certainly a name can be removed when somebody owned human beings, was a human trafficker, right? If you know about and read about and can Google what slavery entailed, the brutality, the inhumanity, the murder, the rape, the separation of families. Now they're talking about on the Mexican border, the separation of families and from children from their mothers and fathers was a common occurrence that our ancestors suffered. So you can take his name down.
Yeah, definitely take it down.
And I said, you know, I challenged Mayor Walsh, if he'd like to debate about this, I'll be happy to debate him anytime, anywhere, about Faneuil Hall and about any other subject matter.
Correct.
I haven't heard from him yet.
Of course. And you have some resolutions that you want to propose to the City Council and Mayor Walsh.
Yes,
Do you
we
mind reading it?
actually, since Kevin Peterson and I had both worked in the City Council, we devised a resolution for them, and I'll read a bit of it. The resolution of the Boston City Council. Whereas residents of the City of Boston seek to address questions that have been raised regarding race, memorials, public buildings, and public spaces in Boston, and whereas the Mayor of the City of Boston and the Boston City Council ostensibly seek to address human rights and the issues of discrimination and carry on the work of the Dialogue on Race in Boston initiated by Mayor Martin Walsh, and whereas Faneuil Hall is a publicly owned facility that should reflect pride and respect across the diversity of the city, and whereas many citizens of Boston are unaware of the city's historic complicity in the transatlantic slave trade, the fact that slaves lived in Boston and that the Mass Bay Colony was among the first civic districts during pre-American times to legalize slavery, and whereas the City of Boston has never apologized for its role in acting and abetting slavery, and since the Boston City Council has made efforts at racial repair in the city, now therefore be it resolved that the Boston City Council does hereby authorize the creation of a citywide process on race, memorials, public buildings, and public spaces, with a mission focused upon providing the citizens of Boston with options for telling the full story of Boston's history of race and for readjusting the city's civic narrative regarding race. And be it further resolved that at least one hearing be held at Faneuil Hall, and be it further resolved that council and or the mayor will reserve $1 million from the city of Boston for the operating costs related to a public process addressing race with expenditures approved by the office of the mayor.
Wow. And a lot of people want to say it's just a name change. It's more than a name change. There's more stuff in that resolutions than just a name change.
Yes, and the name change is a symbolic measure. You know how people will say you can't fight City Hall? Well, we want to show that you can fight City Hall when you are right about an issue. And people should not believe that because somebody has been elected that they get to tell you what to do. We, the people, run the government.
Yes, we do. And we have an event coming up pretty soon. Martin Luther King speech in front of the City Hall?
Yes, on April 16th at 4 p.m., people will gather to read segments of the letter from Birmingham jail that Martin Luther King wrote and other historic documents. And it's something, last year, the document that was read was the last speech that Dr. King made in Memphis before he was assassinated on April 4th of 1968.
Wow. Cousin Bill, I just want to thank you for joining me this afternoon on Going Uptown. And I had a great time. What is next for you?
What is next for me?
Yes, sir.
Well, I've been retired for a while, but I can see that there are a lot of issues in the city that still need to be addressed. And my goal is to do as much as I can to make Boston the kind of place where a future Carl McCall doesn't have to leave and go to New York to have the kind of career that he ended up having, that our children and any children in Boston can live here, have a career here, go to school here, and enjoy the benefits of the wonderful city of Boston that other people are anxious to come and enjoy.
Wow. And if anybody want to get in contact with you, how can they get in contact with you?
I'll give you my email address. It's Roxbury with a capital R, 121 @msn.com.
Thank you. Thank you, Cousin Bill.
Thank you.
And this is Going Uptown with Uptown Browne. And we will be back after this break. Democracy. Democracy will not come today, this year, nor ever through compromise and fear. I have as much right as the other fellow has to stand on my own 2 feet and own the land. I'm tired of hearing people say, let things take their course. Tomorrow will be a different day. I do not need my freedom when I'm dead. I cannot live on tomorrow's bread. Freedom is a strong seed planted in a great need. I live here too. I want freedom just as you. Langston Hughes wrote that poem in 1949, and we are still not receiving democracy today. As my cousin Bill was talking about earlier, we need some more work to do. You know, we have needles in the parks in our public schools where kids can step on them and they're not being removed after we brought the issue up time and time again. Gentrification's happening. You know, there's a lot going on in this world today that democracy is not working. But now, joining me is my good friend, Mr. Eddie, that's E-D-D-I-E-H-A-S-S-E-L-L, Eddie Hassell. Welcome to Going Uptown.
Thank you.
So, Eddie, can you tell my audience a little something about yourself?
Let's see. Work with the community, a lot of stuff with the community. Involved with the play. I've been going on my 2nd year. It's been a real treat, new experience for me, of course, you know.
So what attracted you to become an actor?
It's something I did when I was younger. I played around with it in school. Something, you know, I walked into like a drama class by accident, and I just started playing around with them for a while and found out I was in the wrong program, and then they kicked me out. But then I was like, wow, that's something I could probably do. And, you know, I joke around a lot, of course, and everything like that. And so you kind of put me back into what I feel comfortable doing, I guess.
And then you joined the Oscar Micheaux Family Theater Program Company last year. How has that experience been like for you?
It's been a very, very great experience. It's been very learning. You learn a lot. I learn a lot about my history. It's been fun. It's just anything in the theater arts or something like that, this is the place to get it. You know, you guys take your time, you teach us, we walk it through, we learn, we feed off each other, and hopefully one day I'll become a great actor or something like that. But yes.
And our playwright, founder, artistic director, Brother Haywood Fennell, how's it working with him?
Haywood's great. Haywood is hit there, he listens to you, take his time. I mean, he's not afraid to tell you what you're doing wrong. You know, he stands by you, and if he believes in you, which he's been staying on me hard and everything, and he sees something in me. I don't know what he sees yet, but I know he sees something in me. But Haywood is a great mentor and he knows a lot about his history, and he's a great, inspiring to everyone else. And anybody who doesn't believe in Haywood, you have to work with the man, and you understand.
He's a great man.
Great man, great man.
And our director, Sister Monica Anderson Spencer.
Great, she's wonderful, and she's our stage director and everything, and she's just powerful voice, and she's, she walks you through everything. It's been like a great experience, and I welcome people to come out and join us, join the family, the Oscar, family, and a learning experience.
And so what are some of the things that you learned?
Me, I learned how to become out of my skin, to be Claude McKay. I learned how to just use your words, bring the character to life. You want people to feel what you're bringing to that. So I'm portraying Claude McKay, and it's just, you gotta bring it. You gotta bring it so when you tell that story, you wanna feel it, they wanna hear it, they wanna understand. When I do the poem, when we must die, you want to know how it is when we die. You know, if we must die, you want people to feel that, and you want to bring that energy and everything, and that's what you guys taught.
And that's one of the good things too, because you don't just go on stage and recite lines. No, you have to make your audience feel the pain or feel your words that you are saying. Yes. Like, because that last presentation that I did with democracy, and you see, if we must die later,
Yes.
I felt those words. You got to feel those words because this is what our people are going through. This is a teaching element.
Yes.
See, we're not just out there performing. We're teaching our audience what it's like to go through denial, rejection, racism, all that. And then how we have to overcome that by not calling each other in words or fighting against one another, but by sticking together, uniting, and fighting for what's right.
Exactly.
Now, what areas do you want to improve as an actor?
I want to improve in maybe more powerful roles.
More powerful roles.
And then on the flip side on that, I want to bring out my humorous side of me because, I can be funny and everything. I'm a little comical, as you know, and everything. And I want to bring out, just see where I'm at in this whole thing, where I fit in on it's comical or drama or, I would like to improve just on, developing my role and to the best that I can be.
Now, I want to go, you said powerful role. What type of roles would you consider powerful?
Like a real drama role or something, like a documentary, something serious. But, like, say, like, hypothetically, like a Martin Luther King role or something, I want to bring that character, something powerful that you can bring that, like how Will Smith would do Ali or something like that.
Yeah.
I want to bring some, give me a role like that I can bring out that person type of
Well, you pretty much do with Claude McKay, but we got to expand that role. So
that's
what you want to do. You want to expand that.
Expand that on. Yes.
Take that whole project on itself, like the story of Claude McKay.
Yes.
Or like the story of Martin Luther King. Yeah,
Yes,
I feel you on that. I feel you on
I want to
that.
bring it all the way to its.
Because pretty soon we're going to be offering one-man shows, so you may have that opportunity. So be careful what you ask for, because you might just get it.
Right. You're right.
When we see the presentation that we did, we could apply it a lot to what's going on today, because in this scene that we're going to do, when we show it, you're trying to tell me not to go to Paris, because I'm mad, upset, because a lot of stuff is not happening right for us black folks here in America,
And I'm telling you, I want you to stay, and I want you to fight with me and everything, we have to fight this together. Why go there when I can use you here, and we can fight together?
And I see that going a lot, it's going around right now a lot, because, a lot of people is getting frustrated with what's happening here in our communities. And some people are getting forced out of here by going to like Brockton and stuff like that, but a lot of people ain't just like, forget it. I'm going down to Atlanta. Yeah. I'm going down another part of the state somewhere, because, there's more opportunity out there for me. I just give up. I'm tired of all this nonsense in Boston. I'm tired of the murders. I'm tired of the drug population out here. I'm just tired. I just want to leave, pack up my bags, and go.
But see, that's what they want you to do, and you have to stay here. Don't let nobody run you out. This is where you are. Let's build that up. They want to move everybody to the suburbs or something like that. No, stay in your community, build it back up. But don't have them move you out somewhere else, because this is where you're from. This is what we do. This is, for Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan. This is where it is.
That's where it is.
Don't let no one move you out where you're from. Let's build up from the ground. Let's start what we had, build it better, like housing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Let's build more housing. Homeless people, let's keep it here. Why move it out somewhere else? That's not doing nothing for our community.
And that's the reason why I say, words in the play is not just put there just for people's entertainment.
That's right. Yeah.
It's out there as a teaching element.
Absolutely.
And it's just like, we cannot give up on ourselves, and we can't just run off and just like, okay, I got it.
Yes.
So you play Claude McKay. Can you tell my audience a little something about Claude McKay?
Wow. Claude McKay, he come to America. He wants to read poems. He wants to write books. He wants to become an artist. He wants to really express himself, and that is his goal, because he's a teaching person, and he wants people to listen to him by using his power. You know, he has a message. He wants to use their power, and he wants to give people the message. And if you believe in me, as Claude McKay, if you believe in him, he's going to take you somewhere that you've never been before.
And how is he similar to you?
And he's similar because if you believe in me, and you know, by being with me, you know, if you believe with me, I'm going to carry you all the way through. If you believe in me, and you know I got you, that you're going to go far with me.
So what was the hardest part of playing Claude McKay?
The hardest part was the hardest part was the non-Jamaican accent that I have.
Yes.
The non-Jamaican accent was one of the hardest things, but it was just memorizing the lines and all that. But once you get over that fear and everything, it really wasn't that hard. For me, it wasn't that hard. It's just, you know, me, I worked hard, studied hard, memorizing. And once you do it, and I've been doing this over and over now, it's, you know.
And it's so funny, too. You talk about memorizing the lines.
Yes.
You know, me and Eddie worked together, and then, you know, I could just walk down the hallway, and I just see Eddie just talking to himself, walking up and down the hall, reciting his lines, like, la, 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 la. I was like, what is going on? Everybody gonna look at you like you're a crazy man. But he was doing a great job, and he was practicing his lines, and then when you got out there, you nailed it. You know, I've seen that improvement in you.
Thank you.
You know, at first, you know, we going to have you try to be a little radio announcer to make the announcement, but then you just moved on to Claude McKay, and you did master that spot. Yeah. And I'm real proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
But you're going to be moving on to another part pretty soon.
That's right. Moving up to getting out of the Claude McKay, I'm actually going to be Joe the bartender in the next play. Okay. Which is it's a bartender that's a little flirty, a little edgy, you know, likes to get involved with everyone's conversation.
That's more like you.
Know, yeah. You know, he's a little, you know, like a bartender. But, you know, as a bartender, you listen to people's problems and everything like that. And, you know, you get your input, your information if you can. And it's a different role for me, but it's kind of like me in general. You know, you have to have a sense of humor. You have to listen, you know, and it's exciting to play this role. It's different for me, and hopefully I nail this role too.
And then hopefully you bring that comedic side that you want to show everybody.
Absolutely.
You know, don't he look like Charlie Murphy? He could be like, he could do a documentary on Charlie Murphy. But we are going to take a break, and we're going to see our presentation that me and Eddie worked so hard on here at BNN. This is Going Uptown with Uptown Browne. Claude McKay, how are you, my friend?
Langston Hughes, my friend, I heard you leaving America. Is that true?
Yes, my dear friend. I'm just so tired of people saying no to me over and over again. But over there in Paris, better for us. I can feel it. Hey, why don't you come too, my friend?
No, I left my home country in Jamaica to come here to America, to read poems, to write books, and to become an artist. I will not leave, but stay here in America and fight for the freedom we all need. I have written new work about fighting back.
Oh, you have?
Yes, I have. When we, as long as people, we must fight injustice for justice.
Okay.
You care to listen?
Oh, by all means, speak to us, my friend.
If we must die, let it not be like hogs, hunted and penned in an inglorious spot, while around us box the mad and hungry dogs, making their mark on our cursive lots. If we must die, oh, let us nobly die, so that our precious blood may not be shed in vain. Then, even the monsters that we defy shall be constrained to honor us, though dead. O kinsmen, we must meet the common foe. Though far outnumbered, let us show us brave. And for the thousands blows deal one, just one death blow. What thou lies before us, an open grave, like men We will face the murderous, cowardly pack pressed to the wall, dying, but fighting back.
Excellent reading, Claude. Excellent. You must come with me to Europe. Your words are powerful and can be even more powerful over there.
Paris? No, Langston. My fight is here. I have traveled many miles across the ocean to get here to America. And I intend to get my feet wet by helping people to believe that they can achieve by using my talent to build our power.
Okay.
You go on to Europe if you must and get stronger.
I will.
And when you feel the urge, my friend, come back here and help us here in America. Farewell, my friend. Farewell, my friend.
Farewell.
Farewell, my friend.
I know that I'm on a journey and I haven't reached my destination. I've got some more traveling to do. I keep writing and writing, and I know that some of it's good, but these folks just look at me like I ain't supposed to be a writer. Well, that's too bad because that's what I am and that's what I'm going to be. Maybe not here, but over there in Europe, I believe my time has come. I am a powerful writer, and I want people to read my writings. Listen, folks. I, too, sing America. I am the darker brother. They send me to the kitchen when company comes, but I laugh and eat well and grow strong. Tomorrow, I'll be at that table when company comes. Nobody dare say to me, eat in the kitchen. Then, they will see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I, too, am America. I'm on my way to Paris, and when I return, I will have a seat at that table. America, and if we must die, not let it be like hogs, hunted and penned
in their glorious spots.
So what do you think about that poem, If We Must Die? That's one of Claude McKay's most powerful poems.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It just really makes you reach down and ask yourself, if we must die. Like, really, if we must die, we can't let it be on the hands of someone else or hunted by, as we call society now. And it's just one of those, it's very powerful, and it's something, you gotta look at it. Okay. We're all gonna die. But on the hands of how we gonna die?
That is the question.
You know?
You wanna die fighting or you wanna die running?
That's right. And that's really, you know, and then you see the monster, as you've seen the monster, had to say it was, you know.
Number 45.
Yes, number 45. And at the way the country's going, are we gonna let him make us die? Or we're gonna overcome what he's trying to do and move on, because we're not gonna die of the hands of someone else. If we're gonna die on our own. We're gonna die natural causes or whatever the case may be.
Or, you know, we just have to unite and fight.
And fight back.
That's like how you call the people, you said.
I said, you know, we're gonna fight together using my power or anyone's power, using a figure that you believe in or higher power, which really is the case, a higher power, to overcome.
And that's why, you know, this is why I love being part of the Oscar Micheaux Family Theater Program Company, because we research our characters. Like Langston Hughes, you know, I felt a similarity to Langston Hughes because, you know, he's passionate for what he believes in. I'm passionate too with my words. I go out there and speak my mind and fight for what I want. I don't care if people don't like what I'm saying or not. You know, it's all about, you can't sugarcoat stuff. You got to be straightforward. She also plays Miss Evelyn, where she talks about her hair being different and her skin color being different. And we have her grandson, Jarrell Bannon, who does a great job tap dancing. I mean, I am so proud of Jarrell Bannon. He improved from ever since he was younger to what he is now with the tap dancing. We also have Reverend Ruthenia Tukes singing some powerful songs, and you will be hearing that song at the end of the show. And of course, we have oh my goodness, Sister Monica Anderson Spencer. When she sings, oh, it is the best music to my ears.
Yes.
And she bring her role, Sarah Breedlove, and Madam C.J. Walker into the Voices of the Harlem Renaissance. So please keep an eye out for us on our YouTube station, Oscar Micheaux Family Theater Program Company, or we'll be having DVDs of the Voices of the Harlem Renaissance with a gospel flavor. So, you know, we got a few more minutes, and I just want to ask you, what is next? What is next for Mr. Eddie Hassell?
Well, we've been kind of talking a little bit. I might, as on the advice of you maybe and Haywood, I might be doing maybe a show of my radio show or maybe a TV show.
Oh, okay. So what type of radio show would you be thinking of doing?
Well, I was thinking if it's loud, if I do radio, I might do like a slow jam setting music, you know, something to the community, nice past music and like really like nice soul, slow music, you know, to get everybody like a slow jam midnight set or something like that.
All right, so if you're going, cause you hosting that radio show, how are you going to introduce your show? Well, you know, it'll be something deep, like, you know, you're welcome. You're listening to the Midnight Madness with Double D. You know, Midnight
Madness, and, you know, something smooth, and we're going to have some silky soul music, you know, a little deep in there, and everybody calm and cool, and, you know, 108, here we go. We're going to play some Luther Vandross for you, and let's get it on.
Okay.
You know, type of stuff.
And then you talking about you also want to do TV. What type of ideas would you have for a TV show?
TV, maybe something what you're doing.
Okay.
Something like that. Maybe, you know, have some guests and panel on, and, you know, maybe a segment with expanded sports, theater, something like that, you know. Definitely for the community, you know, powerful leaders. But something I'm working on. I mean, I'm still, of course, we've been talking about it and stuff. But
so you're definitely into the sports scene.
Well, I mean, probably a sports thing or something like that, you know. I'm still working on still new ideas, and, you know, with you and Haywood working with me, we'll figure it out, and you guys will see me on TV or radio very soon.
Okay, that's real good stuff. But we're going to be seeing you as Joe the Bartender coming up pretty soon, before the radio show and all that.
That's right. That's right.
I'm real excited.
Well, and I hope everybody comes out. It's in August, I believe.
Yeah, it's going to be in August.
It's going to be in August, and it's the Harlem Renaissance Revival. No.
Harlem Renaissance Revisited with a gospel flair.
Revisited with a gospel flair, and hopefully come on out and see me. I'll be Joe the Bartender. This is a different role for me, and hopefully you guys come on out, and we're going to give you a very, very beautiful show.
A very beautiful show. Yeah. And I have so much confidence in you, because, you know, you're growing and you're flowing. And I'm real proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Now, this is Uptown Browne. Going Uptown with Uptown Browne right here on BNN TV. And I'm real excited for some of the things that I am about to do coming up. Next week, I will be going to Grant AME Church. At Grant AME Church, there will be a Youth with a Purposeful Praise event located at Grant AME Church, located on 1906 Washington Street. Between next Friday, April 12th, between the hours of 6:30 p.m. through 9:30 p.m. This event, hosted by Grant AME Worship's Arts Ministry, will feature youth dance ministries from Concord Baptist, Framingham Community Church, Bearer Sign Language Ministry, Seventh-day Adventist, and Praise House of Deliverance Tabernacle, where fellow BNN producer Pastor Darius is the head of. So join us next week at Grant AME Church for a hallelujah good time. And you know my stomach is growling, Eddie.
That's right.
Because you know what I'm about to do after I leave here.
We're about to go to Vaughn's.
We're about to go to Vaughn's Fish and Chips, located on number 1 Erie Street in Dorchester. And I'm going to, of course, get my favorite chicken wings
You know it.
and my favorite fish, because the Vaughn family are very big supporters of the Oscar Micheaux Family Theater Program Company. And I thank them all for their love and support. And this is Uptown Browne, and make sure you tune in to me on WBCA Radio 102.9 FM, Boston's community station, for episodes of Going Uptown every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. With Uptown Browne, I'd like to thank my guest, cousin Bill Wright, and my friend Eddie Hassell for joining me today. I would like to thank everybody behind the scenes for helping out, making the show a great time, and I will see you next month.
Lord, how come I'm here? Lord, how come I'm here? I wished I had never been born. Lord, they sold my children. Lord, they sold my children. Lord, they sold my children, and I wished I had never been born. They treat me so mean, Lord, treating me so mean, Lord. They treat me so